How's everyone doing today? I'm going to be talking about some SpongeBob characters yet again. I don't know, I kind of been really enjoying making videos about like cartoon characters and all, and just talking about fictional characters. I think it's fun, and they seem to be the only piece of content on my channel that do somewhat decent. Although the last like kind of Family Guy videos I done, they didn't get that much likes. They only got a couple of views. Peter Griffin, people seem to love that fat man when I talk about that donut muncher. But yeah, in this video I'm gonna be talking about 3 SpongeBob characters, and I came up with this video actually. This wasn't my first video idea for today. My first video idea for today is like, okay, so something I've started doing, or something I probably would start doing, is I start talking about 2 characters in like one video. So like or an example of this is when I talked about Mordecai and Simon in the 2 biggest simps, because I was just thinking they are some pretty big simps. I'm not gonna lie, they would kill themselves for their respective lovers. Like, Simon loves Carly, and then Mordecai loves Margaret, who barely pays any attention to her. So I was also thinking though, I was gonna do that with Richard and Patrick, because they're both retards. Richard is probably the worst dad, probably next to Peter. Him and Peter, I just had 2 sandwiches. Him and Peter probably like 2 of the worst dads. So I was gonna do a video on like, talking about Patrick's stupidity, talking about Richard's stupidity. But I also remembered some episodes. There's episodes where the characters of SpongeBob, their personalities changed, and 3 of these characters actually Squidward, SpongeBob, Patrick. And I just want to talk about that. And I'm just checking my laptop's full. It is 5%. Might as well just plug it out. It doesn't need to be 100%. It's not like the laptop's gonna explode if it doesn't get to 100%. You saw me lagging it for a bit because my laptop, it has this thing where it just like, its IQ gets lower when you plug it out. I don't know, for some reason it works better when it's plugged in. This laptop's confusing me. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna be talking about 3 characters where their personalities got changed because and it didn't work out for them. So number 1 is SpongeBob. Now there's an episode in SpongeBob where he becomes normal. So how SpongeBob's really flamboyant, he's really happy all the time. He actually apparently represents one of the 7 deadly sins, lust. So secretly SpongeBob just wants to fuck everyone, or maybe he wants to get fucked by everyone. I don't know. The man does look like a multi-purpose sex tool. All those holes and shit, he could be used for that. But there's an episode where he gets told normal after Squidward. He's had enough of his shit. He's had the final biggest crash out on him. Maybe not the biggest crash out, but he's really crashed out on him to the point where he convinced SpongeBob to. He completely switched up his whole personality, by the way. I don't like those people that just try and switch up your personality, just kind of brainwash you. I think that's super fucked, and that's basically what Squidward did to SpongeBob. But it didn't end up working out for SpongeBob, because at the start of the episode, SpongeBob was just being himself, his regular old, annoying himself. And what pissed Squidward off is that SpongeBob was acting as if he just, he was a vegetable or some shit. He's just going off on autopilot. It's so random and funny. And yeah, SpongeBob is a kid show. It's still funny to me. I'm like 20 years old, nearly 21. I still like cartoons. I think they're grand. But yeah, SpongeBob, he's like running around his house just multiple times, just saying la 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 la. And then Squidward's like, yo, you should try being normal. Don't be yourself. Be this completely normal, boring ass piece of shit person. And in that show as well, it actually shows, oh yeah, and then SpongeBob, he gets a tape later on, basically showing, oh yeah, how to act normal, how to basically not be yourself, be someone else. And in that show, the guy's like, oh, wear normal clothes, live in a normal house, and get a regular 9-to-5 office job, and then you come home, go to sleep, repeat the cycle all over again. That's literally what your man says. I think SpongeBob's being a little bit too real now. That's kind of how it is in the real world with full-time from my heart. Full-time sounds like hell. I'd actually rather jump out of a window than do full-time anywhere. Just, you don't have any time to yourself. You're basically just a robot. You're turned into you're clankerfied if you go into full-time pretty much. So then SpongeBob does become normal, and at first it does end up working out for him because Squidward ends up liking him more. Mr. Krabs, he's happier because SpongeBob's more efficient at cooking Krabby Patties, even though he wasn't really cooking Krabby Patties. He's just printing them out of the laptop, and Mr. Krabs is like, it's like printing money, because he basically is. He's printing Krabby Patties. But then it all kind of starts to fall down flat when he gets fired from his job. Holy shit, voice crack, nearly 21, that's depressing. It all falls down, collapses when he gets fired from his job because people figured out it was paper. I don't know how you didn't figure out at the start that you're chewing on paper, bro. You should know it doesn't have any taste, but it's a cartoon anyways. He gets fired from his job, then he goes to Squidward's house, and he's talking to Squidward. They're having a normal ass conversation, then Squidward just starts immediately just shitting on how he looks. He starts saying, yeah, your nose is like big and flabby and all. It's like an old man's flaccid penis just like hanging around, just just swinging around in the wind. And your eyes, they look like goat eyes, man. What are you, living in a barn and chew on grass? So you just start changing his face up, trying to make him look normal. So then ended up getting Squidward, make Squidward even crash out more. He didn't like the normal SpongeBob anymore. It's like bro just hates SpongeBob. He hates him when he's himself, and he hates him when he's his normal. So he sends SpongeBob flying out. He tries to go to Patrick, but then Patrick's like, you know what, you're just a bit too boring, because Patrick wanted to go jellyfishing with SpongeBob, and SpongeBob is acting as if he doesn't even know what that is. He said, yo, do you want to go window shopping? Try and check my hard drive. And it's like, Patrick's like, all right, SpongeBob, I'm just like, see you later, bud. I don't really like you. So then, SpongeBob, he ended up changing towards the end of the episode by doing weird shit, by doing wacky shit, what he used to always do with Patrick. And at the start, he changed into like this kind of his shiny new form. He looked like a gold. He looked like butter or something. Then towards the end, he changed into his regular old SpongeBob self. Now, the next character who, his personality changed, and it didn't work out for him as well. Squidward. Now, Squidward, he's usually, he's usually just a grumpy old, squid who works a 9 to 5. I don't blame him. I'd also hate it working full time he works in like basically McDonald's, but like slavery edition or some shit. He doesn't get paid for shit. So then Squidward, he was sleeping one day, and Patrick and SpongeBob, they just break into his gaff just to watch the sunset. It's like, yeah, we do this like every year, every special occasion there is. July 4th we broke in. We might set off some fireworks in there. You might set your house on fire. We broke in another time. They just keep breaking into the man's house just to do random shit with him. They even done it on Easter. So then Squidward has enough of this. So he sends them flying out of his gaff. He puts an electric fence around his house and turns it on. So to keep him out, as if he needs to. As if he needs to protect from like zombies or some shit. Man's acting like he's in The Walking Dead and he's in a base and he needs to protect himself. He went through extreme lengths to get rid of Sponge and Pat. So he tries to open his door to try and get SpongeBob Patrick out, because they somehow sneak back in. I don't know. They just teleported inside. So then when he opens the door, he gets shocked, and then after getting shocked, he becomes friendly. Now, this is something that, Squidward, he's not really known for ever being friendly, to be honest. There was only a couple of moments where he's friendly, where he basically made someone shift a pizza in that one episode where they're delivering a pizza. He's being nice, I guess, when they're doing band gigs. Just have SpongeBob and the gang in the band just to keep him happy. But in this episode, it's like his personality completely changed. It's like someone flicked the switch and he just became all happy and nice. And like, yo, SpongeBob, I hated you. Let's just be friends now, buddy. Do you want to, play checkers later on? I'd love to hang out with you. So he spends the time hanging out with SpongeBob and Patrick. And at first, SpongeBob, fucks with it. But even SpongeBob, this is how Squidward, he went wrong with changing his personality. Even SpongeBob gets sick of his shit. And, SpongeBob doesn't really get sick of anyone's shit. It would take a lot to break SpongeBob. The only other time I can really remember where SpongeBob, had a big mass-ass crash out was the episode where Squidward basically became homeless, went into SpongeBob's gaff, and then just started treating him like a butler or some shit, just started mooching off of him, just lying down, turning into a sack of shit, pretty much. So SpongeBob gets sick of this because Squidward, he ends up being able to cook burgers as good as SpongeBob, or even better. He becomes employee of the month once. It's like, SpongeBob, you become employee of the month like 60 times. It's like, you can let bro have this W once. But, SpongeBob becomes employee of the month like nearly every week. No one cares. Squidward becomes employee of the month once, and everyone's throwing a rave like it's the man's birthday. Everyone's throwing the rave like Squidward just got married, or he had like his firstborn child in Patrick's gaff. So then what really pushed SpongeBob over the edge is that when he was at the party, he saw Squidward was having fun with Patrick. He's thinking, right, hang on, fuck no, He's acting as if he's in a gay relationship with Patrick. He's like, right, so that's my boyfriend. You go find your own. So he basically fucked Squidward back off to his own gaff. Then SpongeBob felt bad later on, and Squidward ended up getting his personality changed back to normal by shocking himself back. Basically giving himself a bit of shock therapy. And then at the end of the episode, SpongeBob and Patrick all turned into Squidwards because they touched Squidward when he was getting zapped by the game. The third one actually is where it doesn't really work out for someone whose personality got changed, is when Patrick becomes smart. Now this episode, I like the episodes where it's pretty cool, where it explores like one character. I think it's pretty cool and something different. And in this episode, Patrick, he's a retard. He's probably the most dumbest character in the show, and that's why I love him. He's pretty funny. In this episode, him and SpongeBob are playing jellyfish. They're catching jellyfish. They're doing the regular old, animal abuse, catch a jellyfish, terrorize him for a bit, and then go home. That's just like a regular day in the life for Sponge and Pat. So Patrick, he's running from SpongeBob because he's playing tag, even though he's running from someone who he's supposed to be catching. So he runs towards this. He runs through a sign that said "Danger Cliff," and Patrick's brain thought process couldn't reach his body fast enough, so he ends up flying off of the cliff, falling down onto the ground, and he gets his head like dislodged pretty much. SpongeBob thought he found his head. He rips it out of the ground, puts on Patrick, but then when Patrick got his head back screwed on, it's like basically that she shows us this as well. It's like his brain like plugged in, and then the cobwebs and Shinyo were on cogs, and they started turning and all. It's like I seen a theory actually. I used to watch this dude where he made like it seemed like he was insanely obsessed with SpongeBob, but it's also pretty cool and interesting. He would make theories on like different SpongeBob characters, like Squidward's gay with Squilliam, Mrs. Puff killed her husband, Mr. Krabs killed Pearl's ma, and then Patrick was always smart, but he wanted to be dumb on purpose because it's like his brain was unplugged and there's like webs and dusty and all. So it's like at some point Patrick was smart, but then he became dumb because like people like him better that way. And yeah, Patrick, no one liked him when he was smart. It's like, people don't fuck with him when he's dumb. At least they find, Squidward doesn't, but Squidward doesn't really like anyone. He'd probably be happy on his own. There was an episode where he's in the lone dimension, and Patrick, he ends up just being boring. He ends up, doing this shit. It's like, oh yeah, let's appreciate nature. It's like Patrick, SpongeBob's like, yo, Patrick, do you want to go catch jellyfish? And then Patrick's just acting as if he never really caught jellyfish or anything. He's just acting right. So I don't think we should disturb these creatures. We should just examine them. We should just appreciate their beauty and nature. And it's like he's good at drawing as well. I've never seen Patrick draw. It's like you really up this drawing game. So he ends up, basically fucking SpongeBob off. Then later on when SpongeBob goes to hang out with him later on, after he was done analyzing the plankton, the meme of him looking through the microscope, him and Patrick go to Squidward's house, and Squidward actually ends up, he likes Patrick because Squidward is probably the only self-aware person out of the three of them, out of him, Patrick, and SpongeBob. But then Patrick comes self-aware, and that makes Squidward and Patrick like a duo. But then even Patrick, he just gets sick of he gets sick of Squidward because Squidward's clarinet, he's delusional. He's a completely different reality from where everyone else is. He's in a completely different parallel universe where his clarinet skills are great, but in reality they're just a piece of shit. He thinks he's like a master with it, but he's still a beginner. And Patrick catches on to this pretty quickly, and he tries to train Squidward at first. He's like, right, Patrick makes perfect. Practice makes perfect, but he couldn't train him. Squidward's unteachable, so Patrick just sort of leaves and he's like, all right, fuck off. I just don't want to be around you anymore. So as the episode progresses, actually then they go to Sandy, and Sandy's one of the more smarter characters, and even she hates Patrick because she's trying to solve this equation to how to get bitches or whatever. So then Patrick fixes it and basically says, it's simple, 2x plus yz multiplied by 2d is like 2 plus 2. How could you not figure it out? You're an idiot. What the fuck is wrong with you? So Sandy ends up telling Patrick, go fuck off. I liked you better when you were a retard. That's pretty much what she says to him, and it's true. Everyone does like Patrick when he was better. So then Patrick ends up coming to realization. It's like, I don't really have any friends around me. It's like I have all this knowledge, but no one to share with. So he tries to become dumb with SpongeBob again, and they're trying to have fun. They're skiing, they're sliding down a mountain through barnacles or whatever. It looks like back molds, and it doesn't work. So he runs off the cliff as if he wants to kill himself again, and he ends up landing on the ground, crushing his head inside himself, and then it pops back out, and he finds his right head again. So SpongeBob removes his brain, turns him into a vegetable for a few seconds, and then reattaches the right head onto Patrick, and Patrick's right back to his regular old, stupid ass self. I think those episodes were pretty cool, where their personalities were changing. I really think it's really cool when cartoons and TV shows kind of teach you lessons earlier on in life, and those episodes I like to think they kind of taught you is just don't change for anyone. Just be yourself, no matter as long as you're being your true natural self. Just you're doing nothing wrong really. And I think those episodes are pretty cool and interesting. I just wanted to talk about them. See you later.